Hey, what's up guys, it's Eric with Painting Business Pro, and in this video I want to talk to you about how you can build really lucrative and successful relationships with subcontractors and some of the benefits to utilizing subcontractors in your business. So let's start out by looking at the difference between subcontractors and employees, and we'll kind of wrap this up a little bit with what to do next. And I also want to address why subcontractors get a bad rap and why they shouldn't. So first, let's look at the difference between utilizing a subcontractor model versus an employee model and why I'm in favor of utilizing subcontractors. That's what the focus of this video is going to be. But also I think there's value in employees and using employee models, but that's not what this video is about. So in this video, we're going to talk about the benefit and the value to using subcontractors. So if we just look at subs versus employees, the first factor we want to consider is commitment. You know, when you're hiring employees versus bringing on a subcontractor relationship, your subcontractor is committed. They literally own a business. They probably own equipment. They maybe have payroll and people they provide work for. They are committed to what they're doing. An employee is less committed. They might get a better job offer and just leave you one day. So you're bringing on a relationship with a person that's more committed. Next, equipment. You know, subcontractors are going to have their own equipment. They're going to purchase it. They're going to maintain it. They're going to take care of it. When you're bringing on employee crews, you need to equip them. You know, every painter you need to bring on, they need to have all the equipment. Every crew you bring on might need to have a sprayer, a set of ladders, maybe a power washer. So there's a lot of equipment costs, not just to purchase it, but to maintain it. And what if your employees don't take good care of it? Now you've got even more costs. So you get to save on equipment costs, and you get to save on the time to even buy equipment, maintain equipment, and even pay attention to that. Next up is training. You know, if you're bringing on employees, it's your job to train them to make sure that they're delivering a good product to your customers. Now with subcontractors, there's no training required because the nature of the deal is, hey, I'm working with you to complete this project for this customer. When this project is done to theirs and my satisfaction, that's when you'll get paid. So you don't need to train them, because if they don't deliver the job to satisfaction, they don't get paid anyways. So they have to get it done, which leaves you with not needing to train them. They're responsible for doing good work and training their own employees, which takes that off your back. Next is you've got an obligation to provide work to employees. Imagine you bring on an employee and they're coming on. They're like, you're the one giving me work. So what happens if you say, you know, hey Tom, just so you know, we don't have work next week. What's Tom gonna do? He's gonna quit. And then all that time you sunk into training him is gone and dead, and you're back to square one trying to hire somebody. What if you say, hey, you know, John the subcontractor, we don't have a job next week. Well, he's a business owner. He understands that. That's part of the nature of being a subcontractor is I gotta get work. I gotta get my own work. How I get work is I go work for other contractors. So you're not necessarily going to have to lose that subcontractor just because you don't have work for a week, which takes a big burden off of you. Imagine if you've got, you know, 6 guys and you need to have exactly $15,000 in work every single week, and you don't have it one week. That creates stress. It creates an undue burden on you as the business owner. Next up is ramping up and ramping down. Almost every market has some kind of seasonality to it in the painting industry. So in Colorado, where I'm at, we have a little bit of seasonality. There's obviously more seasonality if you go more north. There's a little less seasonality down south. There's some markets that are pretty steady around the year, but none are perfect. And so with using employees, you can't really fluctuate as easily. For example, at Foothills Painting in Colorado, we'll have somewhere in the range of 150 painters working on job sites in the summer, and then maybe only 20 or 30 in the winter when it's slowest. That's a difference of 100+ painters that we would need to lay off a whole bunch of people for the slow months and then rehire and staff back up, and that's a huge amount of work. Or we would just have to say, we don't have the crews, we're booked up, which a lot of companies do. They literally say, I've got my 3 crews, I'm not gonna hire more, and we're booked through the end of October. I could give you a bid for next March, and customers say, no thanks, I wanna do that work now. And they go to my company, and I say, hey, I actually can handle that because I use a subcontractor model, and I ramp up and scale up my workforce as needed on demand. All right, so it's a huge advantage to be able to do that and go with the seasonality. Next up is just simplicity. You know, with employees, you've got a lot of other complications just in terms of tracking timesheets, managing payroll, worrying about vehicles, worrying about insurance. There's just a little bit more detail, whereas with subcontractors, you literally write them a check for the amount of the job that you agreed to ahead of time, and you can pay them 100% piecework, which guarantees your profit margins, whereas with employees, you can't guarantee profit margins as much, but that's for another video. So these are some of the benefits to utilizing subcontractors. We're not going to get into some of the benefits with employees, but there's a reason that every single company I operate, we primarily utilize and work with subcontractors. The last really important point to make here is that they're all people. You know, I feel like it frustrates me that subcontractors get talked about in a bad way sometimes. Like, we love our subcontractors at our companies. We love the guys that we work with. Like, they're our guys. I mean, this is about as close as to a partnership as it can be. We're literally basically splitting the job down the middle, saying, hey, we're gonna market and sell and get all the jobs and set you up, and then you're gonna knock them down, and we're gonna work together. We look out for them. We take care of them. We fight to make sure they stay busy. Like, we change our subcontractors' lives when they work with us. We care about them. They're people. All right, and employees are people. At the end of the day, you're hiring people, you're hiring human beings. And while there may be some subcontractors out there that don't do great work and are a pain to work with, there's also employees that don't do great work and are a pain to work with. There's also incredible subcontractors out there and painting contractors out there who work as subcontractors that are a joy to work with, do incredible work, take great care of their guys, serve our customers well, represent our company well. And there's also employees that would do that. So at the end of the day, you're working with people. Whether you do it in a subcontractor model, which has huge benefits, or you do an employee model, you're still working with people at the end of the day. So that brings us to, how do you recruit great crews, whether it's painters or subcontractors? For now, we'll talk about subcontractors. The truth is, there's no shortcuts. How you recruit and maintain lucrative, winning relationships with subcontractors is you treat them like a customer. You provide to them more than anybody else will provide to them. You pay them well, you pay them on time, you treat them with a ton of love and care and respect. You make sure they stay busy. You're very organized on your end to make sure they're set up for a win. When problems happen on a job, you work through it as partners and you value the partnership more than anything else. And that's how you recruit and maintain amazing relationships with amazing subcontractors, is you do all of those things I just said better than other painting contractors do. And when you do that, they're gonna wanna work for you more than they wanna work for anyone else. And when you've got great crews working with you and you're doing a great job, that can be an amazing win-win relationship where they're making great money and love working with you, you're making great money and love working with them. And that's the foundation for a really successful business. So what do you wanna do from here? There's a couple different directions you can go. The reason we made this video is an introduction into subcontracting. We've got a few different videos on our YouTube channel that are free, which you can watch and check out and learn more and educate yourself more about how to work with subcontractors and take advantage of this in your business for the benefit it provides you and the subcontractors you're working for. By the way, if it doesn't benefit them, you'll lose them or they won't do a good job because they don't care about you, because why should they? You don't care about them. But if you're really doing this right, it can be an amazing opportunity. The second resource we have is, of course, the Painting Business Pro training program, where we go into all the nitty-gritty, all the little details around everything around how do you recruit them, how do you build those relationships, how do you set expectations, how do you break bad habits, how do you create winning relationships with subcontractors, among every other part of the business, like marketing, sales, estimating, building your teams, and so on. So do what you can, do what you'd like from here, but I hope you got some value out of this video. The next video is gonna be the beginning of the playlist in the series we've got on subcontracting for free on YouTube. And if you wanna get into the weeds and you're really serious about taking your business to the next level, check out the Painting Business Pro training program, and hopefully we'll see you in there soon.